From the very bottom to the body to the very tip top of the headstock, this is awful. And also peep that headstock. Disgusting. Terrible is terrible, y'all, and we deserve better than terrible. Ugh. Hey y'all, Patrick here. Yes, it might be a new year, 2020, lots of crazy, exciting new things coming on the horizons, but there's still plenty of ugly basses to check out. So here today on our 5th installment of Ugly Basses, we're looking at more that you guys sent to me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all those. And God help me. Oh, some of them are really bad. God, I'm pretty sure you guys just send these to me to torture me. For this first one on Instagram, Boaz VDB said, just search for Halo Guitars GVK Bass. And now I'm always a little hesitant when you guys say search for this, search for that, because I have no idea what you guys are getting me into. And this is no exception at all because, it looks like BC Rich got together with a Game of Thrones like fanboy and made this snake skin dragon scale thing. And not only to me is it just really ugly, it just looks really uncomfortable to play too, especially if you're sitting down. And then again on Instagram, we have Till Steinbecker, who mentioned me in a comment, and when I went to the post that he mentioned me on, I kind of fell in love. Now, I know. I was talking mad smack earlier about the basses where the top horn just sort of goes all the way up, and this one does that, but in like a really cool way. I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's headless, so that's a plus for me, but it's kind of like a boxier like style. It's not like a smooth curve all the way through. It's boxy, and man, this thing is rad. On YouTube, RB Bass commented, hey Patrick, I noticed you're not a big fan of most Dean basses, but what is your take on the Dean Hillsborough basses? No, thank you, is what I will say to that. This does the thing I say in every episode. I can't tell if I just say it now just because it's the thing to say, but it reminds me of Gumby. Not just the color, but like especially the horns where they just go out just that tiny little bit where it's just sort of whoop, it bulges out like that. It looks like Gumby. This thing's weird. I don't really care for it. The headstock looks kind of cool, but other than that, it's no. It's a no for me. Skeeter 197140, has he done the Bender collision bass yet? What is this? Like, really though, what is this? Who is this for? That's my question. What is this though? Oh man, from the very bottom to the body to the very tip top of the headstock, this is awful. And I mean that sincerely. This is disgusting in pretty much every single way. It looks humongous. It looks like it is a pain in the ass to play and that it can't be comfortable at all. I refuse to believe that it is comfortable. And just, what is this? God. This is the bass version of those car dealership waving arm things, you know? This is the bass version of that. This was not meant to be a real thing, y'all. Callan says the Rickenbacker 4005, hands down one of the ugliest basses I've ever seen. I love Rickenbacker, but damn. And we go up from the headstock, looks good, looks like a Rickenbacker. I like Rickenbacker headstocks. And then it just turns south real quick. It looks like a misshaped fruit of some sort, like an avocado that just couldn't make it. This isn't special, and this is really weird, and I can see how some people might like it. Maybe? I don't know why though, because, damn. Bohannon asked, what do you think of the Ampeg basses? So I only found 3 models of Ampeg basses, and no, yes. These first 2, no, let's get rid of those, especially the headstocks. I hate that, like, we want to do a double bass headstock. No, the scroll headstock does not work for me at all. But I love the Dan Armstrong models. They're just classic looking to me. They have the clear acrylic body, and just the single pickup. I've never actually gotten to play one before, and I would love to, but man, I've always loved the look of the Dan Armstrong ones. Alighieri asks, hey Patrick, can you show the bases of Status Graphite? Status Graphite, for the most part that I've seen before, they make some really, really good looking bases, especially headless ones. I know the 1 series and the S2 series, they're kind of like, they seem like squished and like brought out a bit, which is kind of, I think, initially weird looking to me. But man, they just really do look fantastic. And apparently they play and sound quite amazing as well. This King bass, I'm not really a fan of, to be honest. It looks kind of cool, but there's something about it which is off to me, and no, I much prefer the S1 or the S2. Then you have the signature models of Chris Wolstenholme's, which I think are just S2s, but suited a little differently pretty much, and with different configurations. I really, really like these, especially with the light up LED fret markers too. Then there's the Streamline, which looks really bad. It looks like a really weird spoon knife combination of some sort, and it just looks like it should have never been designed. This essentially looks like it was made out of leftover wood scraps, and it looks really bad. I don't like this at all. The T-bass style is a really weird take on a jazz bass, and I don't like it. There's something about it that just is really off to me. But I will say, look at the headstock and how it's curved where the tuners are. That is super cool. I don't know really the purpose of it, but it looks awesome. And then they had a John Entwistle signature bass that was really ugly. Almost every bass I've ever seen John Entwistle play is really ugly. Like really, really ugly. But golly, he is one of the best bass players that has ever lived. But his style and bass is like, we're just not on the same level, I guess. And finally, the Groove. This one is super cool. It kind of reminds me of the Fender Dimension series mixed with, like, I guess like a traditional Music Man Stingray in a weird way, with that really cool headstock too. But this one and the S2 series I think are my favorite from Status Graphite. Nefarious696 says, hey Patrick, what's your thought on the Warwick Vampire? And my thoughts on the Warwick Vampire is, I think it's really ugly and it's a really weird looking bottle opener. And that's it. Sabol says, have you ever considered Hagstrom basses? And I actually have before. Not all of them really ticked all the right boxes for me, but some of them look really good. First up is the H8 II, which looks like an SG, but different in a weird way. A little more offset. It just looks better than an SG to me, and I kind of really like this one. The Swede looks like a weird Les Paul, and I hate it, because I don't like the way Les Pauls look as basses. And this one does not change my mind on that. The Super Swede is a weird take, I guess, on jazz basses, and I don't like this one either. And Hagstrom isn't just trying to make it directly their own version of a jazz bass, but slightly different from Fender's. So that's commendable, but it's still really ugly. And like with most double cut hollow body basses, like the Viking here, I love this. This just looks so classy to me, and it just looks fantastic. And then finally, there's this classic looking Coronado, which looks really unique in an ugly way, but in a really cool way too. It's hard to describe, but I would really like to try this bass out. Next up, Barry B22 says, how about some Guild basses up in here? You know what? Let's get some Guild basses up in here. Starting with the Guild B301. This is different. I really like Guild headstocks. They look like Gibson headstocks, but with, this is a weird way to put it, with the better crown, I guess, at the top, where they look way stronger. The body itself of the B301, I'm good. It looks like a small, tiny little axe though, so that's kind of cute. Like the Hagstrom I just talked about, the Jetstar is their version of an SG, and to me, this is beautiful. Kind of a more offset version, like the Hagstrom as well. But man, this one, maybe it's just this one in particular because of that top, but golly, I really like this one. To me, this is much better looking than Gibson's EB line, and just overall looks really stellar and very well put together too. Then the Guild X701. Who wants this? Nobody wants this. Starborn77 says, hey, check out the Washburn B70 for some 80s goodness. Oh, this looks, oh. I mean, no, there's nothing redeemable about this. So say I came up to you with a bass idea. All right, here's the idea. Take an Explorer, but do it on both sides. Then we're gonna offset it a little bit. Then we're gonna make it look all shrunken down. Then for the headstock, we're gonna make it really tiny and very blocky. And just, this thing is oh, an abomination, Jesus. And now 3 basses from the brand ESH. First up, the Poseidon. I remember when I first saw Prince's guitar design and said, I'm gonna make my own version of that, but even worse. And also that top horn, I feel like if you held it for a little too long, it would just snap off like it's nothing. And who wants that? The Sovereign just looks like an LTD ripoff of some sort that's just not inspiring in any way. And then the Stinger. I don't know what it is, but I kind of like this one. It reminds me of an Ibanez Iceman, kind of, but different and better looking than an Iceman, but at the same time, I still kind of think this is ugly, but I like the headstock on this one more. I don't know, this one's sort of putting me in like a weird brain loop. Ross Desaiman says, dude, react to the PVT series basses. They are cool, but with a look only a mother could love. So I will say that I have a love for the PVT 40. I used to own one back in the day that was a natural color. Now I have this really nice wine red looking one. I love the way the T40 looks. If you know what they are, basically made back in the 70s and 80s, and they are made in the USA, just tanks. They are ridiculously heavy. The one I have, I think is about 12 pounds, and you can get a lot of different tones out of them. I actually need to get this one fixed up, get a new nut on it, and then I'm going to put new strings on it and make a new demo for it. But man, I love the T40s. But the T20 is like the same thing, but the pickup configuration with the T40 looks way better. The T20 just, it doesn't do it for me. But the T45 is okay. I like the idea of no pick guard at all, which makes it look really good, and just the one humbucking pickup looks really good too. But compared to the T40, the T20 and the T45 just, nah, they don't cut it. Earson Rayner says, would love to hear your opinion on Ritter basses. And now when looking through Ritter's website, it seems that they do a lot of one-off designs and a lot of custom-made ones, which is pretty admirable, but a lot of them definitely not my cup of tea, to say the least. Like this, the R8, the idea is kind of cool until you look at it, and it looks like a weird piece of taffy that's just been stretched out in a really weird way. And the same with the Roya model. Cool looking wood though. And the Koya, which is pretty much the same thing, but a little different, is also really ugly. And also, peep that headstock. Disgusting. The Ocon is something that will haunt my dreams, especially that top horn right there. Interesting. The Jupiter is a very strange, just looking, I don't even know what this is. The Raptor is, okay, so here's the thing with these basses that I found, these Ritter ones. They're not my cup of tea. I don't think any of these models are, but wow, they are really unique, which I commend a lot. Oh, they are not for me, my God. But like, they're still cool in a really weird and ugly way. Like, they look like they would be really good art pieces in an ugly museum, but they're unique. I'll give them that. Just, I don't want to play them ever. And finally, Zerillion says, you should check out Karl Thompson basses. No, I don't like scrolls, and that's all Karl Thompson basses are. Yes, I understand that they're like specialty made and really cool, and you know, Les Claypool plays them, and these are really ugly. The headstocks, terrible. The bodies, terrible. Just, I'm sure they sound and play really well, but terrible is terrible, y'all, and we deserve better than terrible. Ugh. But those are some of the ones that you guys suggested to me, and while a lot of them will continuously haunt my dreams for the rest of my life, I do appreciate you guys letting me know about them. But golly, I love doing this series because I love finding out all about all these different weird and just obscure brands that I don't think I would ever really hear of before. Again, while a lot of them are just hideous in every single way, a lot of them are really cool and very unique. Just, again, not my cup of tea, but that's okay. And of course, let me know what you guys thought about the ones that I talked about today, and let me know which ones you agreed with and definitely disagreed with too. But thank you all so much for watching as always. If you like this video and want to see more like it and more just bass stuff in general, go ahead and subscribe. And if you want to help support the channel like these beautiful people right over here, head over to my Patreon page for things like early access to videos, giveaways, and more. But thank y'all so much for watching as always, and going through this disgustingly terrible, ugly journey with me, and I'll see y'all next time.